Hi, I'm Rebecca Coleman, and this is The Art of the Business. I wanted to do a little video post today about inspiration and blogging. I've been blogging now since October of 2008, and I post 3 times a week, and it's a challenge. I think one of the greatest challenges for bloggers is trying to figure out where to come up with fresh content all the time. I think when you start a blog, you have all these great ideas in your head, and you think, oh, I can write about this and this and this, and you're really inspired, and it's great. But then after a while, it's like you run out of ideas, and then what do you do? And some days I get up and I just go, oh, I don't have anything to write today. What do I write? So what I want to do is I want to share with you just some of my sources of inspiration that keep me blogging, and hopefully they'll be of some use to you as well. My first source of inspiration for blogging is other blogs. So I read quite a lot of blogs, probably about, I don't know, maybe 60 or so, maybe more. And some of these blogs are theater-related blogs, some are business blogs, and when I read them, sometimes I'll read a post and I'll be like, wow, that's fantastic, and I'll just reprint it on my blog. I'll repost it on my blog and share it with my readers. Sometimes I'll add to that. So sometimes I'll post somebody else's post, or I'll post something that someone else has written, but I'll include my own spin on it, or I'll add to it, or something like that. Sometimes you can write about things that other people have been writing about. You could agree with them or disagree with them. Those are all really great ways of creating new, fresh content for your blog. My cat's very demanding of my attention right at this moment. In a similar vein, I just really want to give a big shout out to Thomas Cott. I first found out about Thomas Cott a few months ago when a blog post that I wrote showed up on his emails. Now, Thomas Cott sends out every day a daily email called You've Caught Mail. And what it is essentially he trolls the internet, reads all these different blogs, and then what he does is he takes sort of 5 blog posts that he really enjoys, sometimes they're thematically linked, and he throws them into an email and he sends them out to his list every day. And it's really great stuff. I get such good stuff from him all the time. So I highly recommend Thomas Cott. I'll include the URL in this blog post. So really great stuff in there that's very inspiring. Another thing that I do is, you know, it's funny, sometimes I think when you've been blogging for a little while, this kind of magical thing happens to you, where all of a sudden you start to see the world through a different perspective, and that perspective is the perspective of a blogger, where you'll be doing something and then all of a sudden you think to yourself, wow, this would make a great blog post. So this happens to me all the time. So for example, I was a few months ago I was buying a suit, and I went into this store, and the sales tactics of this particular store were really interesting, and I thought, wow, this would make a really great blog post to talk about what these people's sales tactics are about. And it's like this thing that happens where you start to just think, wow, this would make a really great blog post. Your friends might be a little concerned that every conversation you have with them is going to turn into a blog post, so try not to do that. But yeah, it's really amazing how when you open up your eyes and when you start blogging, it kind of opens up your eyes to other things. You think, oh yeah, this would be great. I can do this and this and this. Another great source of inspiration for me is when people ask me questions. So go back to your readers and say, listen, what would you like for me to write about? And that's really great, because often what happens is when one person asks me a question, I'll answer it. I'm happy to answer it, but then what I'll do is I'll just write a blog post about it and put it up on my blog, because I feel like if one person is asking a question, then probably other people are going to want to know that same information. So that's a really big source of inspiration for me as well. And one thing that I do just to sort of manage and to sort of keep track of everything is I keep a little they're called stickies. It's like a post-it note, only it's an electronic version of the post-it note, and I keep that on my desktop all the time. And so anytime I have an idea for a blog post, I just jot it onto there on my computer, and then when I sit down to write, I look at that and I go, oh, I could write about this, or I could write about this, and that really helps me to pull stuff together. So those are some of my tips for helping to keep you inspired and writing. I'd love to hear some of your tips. Write them in the comments section. Let me know what keeps you inspired to keep writing, what keeps you inspired to keep blogging. I would love to hear from you. Thanks.